So, we've all wondered at one point or another what it would be like if portals existed. What it would be like if we could go through portals from one dimension to another, from one place to another. As of now, with technology, that doesn't really exist, sadly. But with cards, it can exist, and I'm going to show you how. So first, I'm just going to take off 2 helper cards, which I've already selected, the 2 kings, or 2 of the kings. I'm just going to set those aside for later. I'm just going to separate them so you can see that I don't have anything in between them right now. Then, if I had a spectator here, I'd have them select any card. So, this is a random selection. It's okay if I see it, doesn't really matter, the 4 of diamonds. Now, I'm going to take that card, it's on the top of the deck, take that card and lose it into the middle of the deck. Give the cards a few shuffles. And a few more cuts. Okay. At this point, I'd ask the spectator if they're satisfied that their card's lost. If they're not, I just hand the deck over to them and let them shuffle it. And then at that point, if they're not satisfied, I don't know what to say to them. But now that the deck is shuffled, I'm going to take these kings. You can see that I have the King of Clubs and the King of Diamonds. Now this card wasn't supposed to fly off. So you can see I have 2 kings. And what's interesting about these is when I set them up like this, I can make a portal out of these 2 kings. So when I lost your card in the deck, that was actually another dimension. Like, this deck is like a parallel universe to the one that we're in right now. It's a bridge between the universes. So I'm just going to take your card from that universe, take it, and just throw it through. And a card pops out of the portal. Your card, the 4 of Diamonds. So this trick is not the easiest to learn, but it definitely has a cool effect. It's one of my favorites. I'm excited to teach it to you guys. So I hope that you'll stick around for the tutorial. To do the portal, what you need is at minimum 3 cards. It looks better with the whole deck, so you can do kind of the storyline that I did there, or make up your own storyline. But really, you just need 3 cards. So what you want to do to start is hand over to 100% innocent cards for the spectator to look at. These cards don't matter, other than the fact that they're the cards you'll be using for the rest of the trick. So I like to use 2 matching cards, as just a preference, personal preference. You can use whatever cards you want. At this point, you have the spectator select a card. In this case, we're just going to be using the 9 of Diamonds, just the top card. So now, what you want to do is called a false cut. You put their card back on top, and their card's going to stay on the top the entire time while you're mixing it up. So, for false cuts, I'm planning on doing a separate tutorial on these. You can find different cuts on other YouTube videos. I'm not going to be going in depth in this one, because they're a whole tutorial to themselves. But after doing those cuts, the 9 of Diamonds is still on top. What you can also do, to make it look more convincing, is to actually shuffle the cards. Just making sure to keep the 9 of Diamonds on top of the shuffle, so that you don't lose it. And you can mix up the cards however you want here, as long as you can find the 9 of Diamonds. What also looks pretty good is taking the cards and doing an overhand shuffle, pulling the 2 cards, the top and bottom card out, and then doing a overhand shuffle like that. If you want to do that, go ahead. I didn't in the performance, but it does make it more convincing. And the 9 of diamonds is still right there. This is Yo-Yo during the editing process of this video. I realized that I didn't teach how you can have the audience shuffle the cards. So if you didn't pick it up in the performance, what I did is I took a card from the top, their card, palmed it, and just dropped it down. I'm still palmed in my hand. And at that point, you can just let them shuffle the cards and then just put it back on once they're done shuffling. Back to the video. So now, you want to get a pinky break under that 9 of diamonds. To do this, what you do is you push out your thumb and pull back your thumb, like that. When you push out your thumb, you push the card out along with it and pull back right over your pinky. This takes quite a bit of practice to get smooth, so just work on that and try to be able to get it fast. If you can't, you can use some misdirection, you can do whatever you need to make it so that the spectator doesn't see that. And from the front, it looks completely innocent. Then, you take these 2 cards, make sure that they're not squared up when you take them, make sure that they're not like this, so that the next part of this trick kind of makes sense. So take them like this, put them on the deck, on top of that pinky break, and square them up with your thumb. And then take off the 3 cards. So right now in my hand, I have these 3 cards. Their selection, and the 2 kings. One more time, I take those kings are still down there, get the pinky break under that card, which would be their selection on top of the deck. I take the 2 kings, square them up, and take off 3 cards. Doing it fast, it'll look like this. Okay, so now what you don't want to do at this point is flip over your hand. That'll be a dead giveaway of what's going on. They think that you just have the 2 kings in your hand. They don't know about this 3rd card. So when you're doing the convincing, you have to be very careful to flip over your hand at the right time. And at this point, the deck isn't necessarily needed. You have the cards that you need in your hand. I like to just spread it across the table and just keep it in view, because that actually distracts them from what you're doing in your hand. So then, for the convincer, fast, it looks like this. And that got their selection right into the middle, which is where we need it. So now, more in depth on how to do that, what you want to do is take the top king, peel it off, and push it over with the other one onto the bottom. You just peel it off, balance it on your hand like this, push it over, and square up the pack, just like that. Then you can flip it over to show that that king's normal, flip it back over, and now you can pull off this king. The next card will be their selection. And pull that one off, the king, not their selection. And you can flip this one back over, and you can do whatever you want with it. Like if you can do that smooth without separating cards, go for it. Do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter at that point, as long as you end it with their card being in the middle. So once you're at that point, what you want to do is hold the cards like this. I have my thumb and my middle finger on the 2 corners of the cards, and have the other corners of the cards facing in towards my other hand. Doing it like this will not work, or at least not work well. So you have the cards like this, then you make the portal. So you just put some pressure on these cards that kind of gives them a little bend, then you grab the 1 card, being careful not to grab their selection. And you pull that card down and kind of click it like that. And that'll make it stay there. So, certain angles for this, kind of hard to see on this camera, but you don't want to hold it like this to them because you can see that there's a thickness difference in those cards. So now, this is, out of all of this, the hardest part of the trick, is actually managing to launch the card. So, it should be right here in the deck, or in the pack. You're holding the selection underneath the top card. So when it's like this, the selection is right there. So what you want to do is just kind of let off the pressure a little bit with your thumb and then reapply the pressure. And that'll shoot out the card. It probably won't work first try, or even second try, third try. It takes a lot of practice. Doing this maneuver, I practiced it for about a day, wasn't able to get it, took a few days off, came back, and got it pretty quick. So it takes quite a bit of practice to get the card to fling out like that. Just keep working on it, you'll get it. It's a weird move. So once it's like that, you're set. Like, you're ready to go. All you need to do now is to basically just explain to the audience that you're going to take a card from the deck or from another dimension, whichever you choose, or you can have a different story, doesn't matter. Take it, and put your hand like this to make it look like you're throwing it into the portal. I just go like that, just flip my hand over. It's just acting at this point. You just throw it in, and at that same moment, you shoot it out, just like that. So, again, this trick is not easy to learn. It's intermediate, verging on advanced for me. And if you have any questions about it, please let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're really not getting it, I am willing to do another tutorial on this and go more in depth about the pressure and the different sleight of hand and like the different timings of the trick and all that. I just want to give you guys the main sleight of hand move so that you can go and make your own story of it and just amaze your audience with what you have created. I'm just giving you the tools to do that. So that's going to be the end of this video. Have any questions, let me know. But I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you'll check out some of the other videos. Thank you for watching.